Hello and welcome to another episode of the Photography Pubcast. There's four of us here today. There's no Stu and no Dave, unfortunately, but hopefully they'll be back next week. But we have got the more interesting Daz and Jamie here, haven't we, Sam?
I don't know about that.
The more interesting Daz and Jamie.
Yeah, no, I meant the more interesting Daz and Jamie. Like
it was the pause
and
Jamie.
As a pair. You're interesting as a pair. So you know, me and Sam have got a bit of support this week. So we might get a few more viewers this week, Sam. You never know.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah, we shall see. So I just wanted to just talk about a real few things quickly before we get going. The competition. Have you guys seen the competition page on?
I had a quick look
on the Pubcast website.
Really impressive.
Yeah,
really
impressive. I haven't.
It's going to be hard work, isn't it?
Honestly,
winner.
It's all I can say is obviously please keep your entries coming in, but even now there's going to be so many really good photos that are probably not going to get mentioned because the standard is incredibly high. It really is. It just some of the stuff's just like wow. So keep them coming though. You've got till the 15th, which is Friday. Is it the 15th?
Next Friday.
Yeah, you've got till next Friday to get them in. And then we discussed, didn't we? And we're going to talk about them and announce the winners in the new year, like the first podcast back in the new year. So we'll talk about them then. But the standard is amazing. Yeah. Comments. There were lots of comments, but there wasn't really anything that stood out really from our little three-way last week. So the only thing someone said was about my syncing my voice to the audio, and I had a major problem with it. So I'm sorry, I couldn't. No matter what I did, at some point in the video, it wasn't syncing. So I just left it and went, oh, whatever. But it should be better this week because I got my other mic plugged back in, so we should be good.
I thought you meant you were syncing.
Oh, I thought you meant you were syncing as in your chair.
Yeah.
So going back to the comments from the week before when Mark Littlejohn was on, and I couldn't be there. I saw some of the comments.
Oh, your chair.
About my chair.
Yeah.
Well, for the people that don't like my chair, two things. One, I couldn't give up. And the second is that I'm probably having a swap round again in here. So my leather wingback will probably be back in the new year.
You watch the views rise now. The views when that comes back.
Yeah.
I go, Daz is bringing his old chair back. Come on, let's get watching. That's what will be the title when it comes back. It'll be Daz's chair is back. And then we'll probably get like 10,000 views. Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be this season's equivalent to Jamie's Wi-Fi issues in last season.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
listen, you can't criticise Wi-Fi issues. We can't bloody see
no,
you.
Yeah, you've gone now.
Yeah. Oh, see, he's come back for me now.
As long as we can hear you, that's the important thing. Well, we'll just pretend you're on the other end of a phone line from the 1940s. You'll be fine. So I've got a couple of other things. The jingle. So last week you guys weren't here, but I asked people if they would put jingles in. We had a massive response. You wouldn't believe it. Huge response.
How many do we get?
One jingle, and it wasn't really a jingle. It was more like an intro. It's from Marcus Reed Edwards, and thank you, Marcus, for sending that in to us. I'm gonna play that now.
3, 2, 1.
We're clicking it.
Thanks for that, Marcus.
That was.
What bad?
If Gary could have got it to work, it would have been a lot better.
Yeah,
I must admit.
well, it will work on the final one because
will it?
Yeah, because I'll edit over the top. It's just for you guys. Yeah, but it's good.
I'll have to watch it back.
Yeah.
Thanks, Marcus.
Thanks, Marcus.
Thanks for making an effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did have one other from Alan, but Alan Coles. He didn't really. He didn't give us a jingle, but he suggested.
Or put much effort into it, really.
Well, he put a bit of effort into it. He suggested something that I should sing. So, would you like me to sing it?
Yeah, go on then.
Okay, this is what this is. I'm going to read it out and sing it. Right, ready? He goes, Shingle Street, shingle all the way. Oh, what fun Gary had when he went to play. The sky was grey, he was blue, he didn't get a shot. Someone asked him, what's it like? He says, it's no honey pot.
Brilliant.
Thank
Brilliant,
you,
Alan.
Thank you,
Great.
Alan. I'm available for weddings, probably better at funerals. Yeah, but, you know, if anyone's interested to book me. Oh, and speaking of Shingle Street, we had a comment from Justin Crane, and I feel a bit bad about this. Justin said, oh, God, I've got to find it now. Anyway, Justin basically said that he likes Shingle Street, and I really should appreciate it more, seeing as I helped him to edit his zine, which is for charity, by the way, if anyone's interested. You can get hold of it by, well, actually, if I put that up there, can you see that? You can click on that QR code and buy it. But I helped him to edit it, and the centre spread is Shingle Street. Still don't like it. That's a good photo, but I still don't like it. Anyway, moving on. What have we been up to this week, guys?
Well, I've been to York. Well, not last week, the week before. That's the reason I couldn't make when Mark was on. So yeah, if 3 times I booked to go to York. One, I definitely had to cancel because of work. I remember that well. I can't remember why I had to book cancel the other trip to York. So this was 3rd time lucky. And for those of you that have never been to York before, what a place, what a city. It's fast become my favourite little kind of UK jaunt, actually. I didn't think anything would beat Bath, but York is right up there, so much so we've planned to go back again in January. So
Very similar to Bath, though, isn't it? With its Roman,
I suppose with
Roman history.
the Roman aspect, it is. But yeah, I just we crammed kind of quite a lot in, and we done like one of the things we done was a 90-minute walking tour, but we've actually booked up again with the same lady for a 4-hour private walking tour. She was so good, so interesting. So yeah, anyone that's never been to York and fancies a weekend away, I can't recommend it highly enough.
So what's the walking tour? Is it like there's Marks and Spencer's, there's Matalan, there's Primark around the corner?
Pretty much, yeah. There's Primark, but you know, honestly, joking aside, Joe, what I loved about York was, you know, it's a big place, but it was just heaving with people, but not in a bad way. You know, all the shops were full, and the restaurants were full, and the pubs were full. You know, it's so nice not to walk down what is now becoming a very typical kind of high street with charity shop, empty, a half decent shop, a charity shop, a coffee shop, an empty shop.
Poundland.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we've got where we are. There's so many shops that are open because obviously Amazon's kind of killing the high street. But York was just packed. So I think I saw one empty shop out of, I don't know how many shops there was, 100 shops. But it was just nice to see such a vibrant city.
Two questions. Did you shoot the, what is it? Is it the Shambles or the Rambles?
Shambles.
Or the Shambles?
No, I didn't take my camera, but I went to the... So just very quickly, I couldn't work out what this was. So you walk down the Shambles, or it's just called Shambles, but you know, you walk down the Shambles, and there was this huge queue, and there was someone kind of dressed up in kind of character, and they were just kind of looking after the crowd, bit of crowd control. And basically, this one shop is selling ghosts, but the ghosts are, well, you could kind of pop it on your finger. That's how big the ghosts are. They're about the size of your kind of index finger. And they're made out of clay. And what happened during 2020, when obviously everything kind of shut down, they set up this kind of TikTok account. And then once everything opened, people now flood to the Shambles to buy these little ghosts. And there's nothing to them. They're literally, well, just Google ghost shop, the Shambles. And I think they start at 19 quid, 15 quid, and about 30 quid. And people come from all over the world now just to queue up to buy these little ghosts.
Wow.
All thanks to a viral video on TikTok.
Wow. Well, we started up in the pandemic as well. We're not doing so well. No, I'll talk more about that later.
Some may say we're ghosts.
Yeah, might as well be. Did you go to the Viking Museum?
Yes, I did.
Did you? Did it still smell?
Brilliant. Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember going there
really
as a kid,
good.
and they did the sights and smells of a Viking village or something.
Yeah. Thoroughly enjoyed that.
Excellent. So York is the place to be.
York's the place to go.
Especially at Christmas. It's lovely at Christmas, isn't it? Christmas market.
Yeah.
What about you guys? What about you, Jamie or Sam? Have you been up to anything? Oh, no, wait, hang on. We've got to ask Jamie, haven't we? How was last night, Jamie?
Oh, well, as you can tell, I'm drinking a cup of tea. So I didn't really fancy another beer. Yeah, I worked Christmas party in Leeds last night. And, I'm feeling a little bit delicate, shall we say. A little bit sleepy, hence why I'm sort of relaxed in my chair rather than sitting upright. So, no, it was a good night. It was so loud. I know I'm getting old, but it was just so loud. I couldn't hear myself talk. I couldn't hear anybody else talking to me, or I couldn't hear what was coming out of my mouth. It was so bloody loud. I thought, what's the point? You invited 100 people there to get together and network against, with each other because you'd hardly see each other, but you can't hear each other because the bloody music's so loud. But anyway,
I'm with you all the way there, mate.
It was a free bar, so that's why I'm feeling a bit rough.
Did you go to work today?
Well, I come back on the train lunchtime today, so I've been working this afternoon, or trying to.
Nice. Favourite song?
What, from last night?
Yeah.
I ain't got a bloody clue what they were playing last night. I couldn't hear it. It was all... Not got a clue.
Brilliant. What about you, Sam? What have you been up to?
I've been having it's a busy week this week, but last weekend we had stunning hoarfrost up here in Scotland. If anyone's checked out Stu's video of Glen Affric, and if it had been any other weekend, I would have gone down there and joined him down there. I was rather kicking myself that I couldn't, but I couldn't make it this weekend, unfortunately. But I did head out Sunday morning. I managed to get a few images of it, so that was nice. I found a nice little spot actually where there was a sort of little bit of an island in the middle of a river with a sort of conifer on it, and then behind it were these sort of birches in the hoarfrost, and because we had the stream and there was mist coming up off the stream, I'm pretty sure I've got some nice shots from there. I took a few nice, even if I say so myself, not abstract, close-up shots.
Okay.
Of ice in the pond as well, which I think came out really quite nicely. So haven't had a chance to edit them or stick them out anywhere, but yeah, I'm hopeful I've got a few nice shots from that trip.
Very cool.
Is there a video coming with that?
Did you vlog it, Sam?
Yeah, there's a video. Yeah.
Look forward to seeing it. Look forward to seeing it. So anybody got anything else to report before we move on? No,
I think so.
No. Okay. Well, we've got a few topics tonight. But do you know? Should we start with a moan? Should we start with a moan? Shall we? Daz has got a moan. Go on, Daz. We got this. Get it. Hang on. Get it off your chest. Right. Get it off your chest. Weekly feature. Go for it, Daz.
It's actually nothing to do with photography, and perhaps I should be moaning on the podcast about it.
No, do it.
But I'll tell you what, I'll moan, but just cut this out if this is, But
I won't.
So about 3 weeks before I went to the Lake District, which was about this was about 8 weeks ago now, I suppose, I got an interesting phone call from a potential client to go around and look at a job. And I went round there, and it was a nice job, actually. It's 3 bathrooms and a kitchen to do. But it's an unusual situation because they had a previous builder there who's ripped everything out, but then, bless him, he got very poorly and he couldn't carry on with the job. So there's lots of materials already kind of on the site. So Anyway, I said, look, I can't do nothing until I come back from holiday, which was about 5 weeks. So when I was on holiday, about 2 days before, I texted them just saying, do you still want me to do this quote? Yes, please. So I said, right, I'll take Monday off of work. I'll get this quote kind of into shape. And I do it really thoroughly, kind of room by room, exactly what I've got to rip out, exactly what I've got to install, what materials I'm supplying. It's really comprehensive, but it's very easy to read. It's line by line. You just got to follow it. Took me about 5 or 6 hours, and then I've done there's a schedule of works, and I've done a covering letter, and on that covering letter, each room had requests for information because it's unusual. So I don't know what materials they've got on site. So I asked them to write down what bathroom suite they've got, if any, how many tiles, blah, blah, blah. Then I can incorporate that into the final price. So yeah, I took a day off, produced a schedule of works, covering letter, request for information, dropped it down to them. Didn't hear nothing for about a week and a half. Then he rang me up, and he was just saying, oh, blah, 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 blah. And I thought, well, you should know this. So I said, can I just stop you? You have read what I dropped round, haven't you? I'll be honest with you, I haven't. So I said, well, can we just stop this conversation then? Because if you just read what I took the day off to produce on your behalf, all the information's there. And don't forget, I need information from you. I've even done you room by room requests for informations with little square boxes for you just to fill in by hand, give them back to me. And okay, yeah, no worries. Not heard from him since. So I've taken the day off of work. It's cost me a day's money, which I know builders kind of give out free quotes, but considering I actually said, do you still want this quote? Yeah, please do it. And he's not come back to me. I feel like sending him a bill. I don't mind going up against someone else if I lose it on price, but to not even get that far, I honestly feel like sending him a bill just for wasting my time.
Yeah, no, you're right, Daz. We're definitely going to cut that out. Anyway, I'm only joking. Yeah. I'm only joking. You wouldn't know I've been in a bad mood all week, would you? I'm actually, quite jovial tonight, but I'm in a bad mood all week. Sorry, Jamie, you got a bit of a brunt of it as well. I do apologise on the
message last night.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was a bit grumpy. Grumpy. Hang on, is that Noddy? No, it's Biggie, isn't it? Anyway,
see what you were doing with that one.
Yeah. Sorry, I've got something as well, right? And this could take a while because I've had a bad week. These polls on Twitter. Yeah, these polls on Twitter that you get that Andrew Atkinson does. So I got a double thing here, right? Firstly, he put a podcast poll up. Oh, what podcast do you listen to? No one mentioned us. Not one person. Not one person. 2 people who commented used to be on the Pubcast, and they didn't even mention us. I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like, seriously, come on, you were on it. You were on it. I mean, I expect it from one of them, but the other one, come on. So I was a bit disappointed with that. And then I wanted to talk about a wider point, really, with this, and it really does my head in. It's the comments that you get on those polls and this type of thing on Twitter, right? It's like when there's so many people who say things, and I don't believe they even believe them. They just say things because they think they're the right thing to say. So like there was a poll today that's like it's like, is landscape photography becoming very like samey? Is it all becoming very similar? And you can see all these people going, oh, yes, I hate to say it, but I do believe it is becoming, it's becoming very too similar. And all of them are thinking to themselves, but not my photography. My photography is like way above all of that. But I find it very, and it's like, seriously, I can't stand it when people like say stuff that you clearly know they don't mean, and they're just saying it because they think it's what everyone else wants to hear. And he did another poll the other week about YouTube. Who's your favourite YouTuber? And I could almost see in my mind's eye people sitting there going, when's he going to mention YouTube? When's he going to mention YouTube? Like, oh, it's mentioned YouTube. Outrage. Oh, YouTubers, scum. YouTubers. Oh, I never watch YouTube. Oh, no, I don't watch you. I haven't got time for YouTube. Oh, no, don't watch YouTubers. Or they'll go, there's the other camp who go, oh, yes, I like to watch, Thomas Heaton, or I like to watch, so-and-so, but only because he uses organic film when he does his blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, do you know what? I bet they all go home. In their dirty little sleazy basements, put on a bit of someone in YouTube and go, oh, YouTube. Oh. Anyway, that's my rant this week. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick and tired of it. And I'm also sick and tired of as well the people who comment.
You are on a roll,
I'm
aren't you?
really unhappy this week, yeah. The people who comment on your YouTube channels or comment on your YouTube videos or have commented in the past, who are just doing it because they're trying to get traction to their own videos. And I could name names. I really feel like I could name names today. I'm not going to name names, but I could name names. I've had so many over the years who when they're just up and coming, go, oh, Gary, oh, what a great video. I really enjoyed watching that video, Gary. Oh, I love that video, Gary. Oh, that was really good, Gary. And then they get like 3,000 more subs than you. And they go, Gary, who's Gary? What? Who's he? Who's Gary? Sorry, who's Gary? Can't stand it. Sycophantic, fake, horrible people. I'm done. Should we move on to a topic?
Do you have a blood pressure machine at home?
My blood pressure's fine.
You sure?
Actually, do you know what? Weirdly, I went to the doctor's on. This is another story actually, but this one's okay. Trust me.
Is
this
it all right?
Okay.
Is it a good one?
This one's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. I went to the doctor's I had a blood test about 2 weeks ago for my diabetic checkup, and the doctor said, "Oh, can you come in for a routine appointment?" It's probably a bit more than 2 weeks ago. So I was like, okay. So this was on Tuesday. I went in the doctor's, and my appointment was at 3:50, right? So at 3:50, if it had been on time, I'd have gone in, gone out, everything great, yeah. Didn't get in there till 4:30, and they got Heart on the radio, right? You know what's coming, don't you? You know what's coming? 4:25, Last Christmas comes on by Wham, so I'm out, right? I didn't even need to be there, but I went in there, my blood sugar has dropped significantly. They're really happy. They're taking me off some of the medication. So
well done.
That is good. So, and my blood pressure's fine. It's probably got elevated a bit after that, but it's fine.
Well done.
Does it feel better you've got that off your chest, though?
Well, no one listens to us anyway, apparently, according to the Twitter poll. So who cares? Oh, no, I only listen to so-and-so who does, uses
Gary,
long words to talk about. Yeah,
it doesn't matter. We've got a fantastic audience of people that listen to and watch this podcast, and the same regular people comment all the time. And we so appreciate them all for watching and commenting and listening and whatever. Doesn't matter about others on Twitter. We've got an audience that love us. So, well, say they do. They probably don't, but.
No, yes, you're right.
And we enjoyed doing it. We always set this up.
Yeah.
In fact, we're going to talk about that, haven't we? Does that lead us nicely on to one of the questions?
Yeah, yes, it does, and we will go on to that question. And
but just not yet.
Not yet, because
I'll stay in my lane. I know my place.
No, you're good.
That's fine. I know my place.
We're going to move on to that question next. I just wanted to echo what Jamie said. I do really appreciate it. I do really appreciate what everybody says, and that everyone watches, and it's really, really nice. But just when a poll comes up on Twitter, at least one of you could have read it. Because it's not even that. It's not even that. It's just the hoity-toity like fakeness of it all, and I love that one, and I really like the one where he uses all the big words, and just come on, piss off. Anyway, sorry, I'm just in a bad mood. Moving on, let's talk about that, shall we? We've had a question in.
That last 5 minutes he was talking to himself, he
was.
Yeah. Well, we did know we had a question. These questions are quite old, so we are getting around to them slowly. But this is from Robert Dawson, who posted on our Facebook page, and he said, "Why did you start vlogging on YouTube, and how did you guys all meet to form the Pubcast?" So this is a good a good segue, Daz. Well done. So,
Thanks, mate.
I'll tell you what. Seeing as Sam's you're kind of the new guy here, why don't you talk about why you started vlogging, and then talk about how you ended up on the Pubcast, and then we'll
that's
go
a
back
good
to your
idea.
origin story.
Yeah, good plan. Why did I start vlogging? That's a really good question. First thing to say is I probably shouldn't have started vlogging when I did, because I think my first video when I did that, I'd probably been doing photography for just over a year, something like that. I was fairly new to it. And the reason, I guess the main reason for it was because I'd, in a way, gotten into landscape photography through watching the vlogs on YouTube. The actual process of making a video to me looked fun. It looked like something which I would enjoy. I could see how they were constructed with the whole, walking past the camera on its tripod and all of that sort of thing. And I was very much into music editing and photography as well at the time, obviously, and then also making making the odd video which I had done before for my music at the time. So it just seemed like something, I reckon I could do a vlog. And it just looked like something that looked fun to do. So I did. And actually the first video, I'm hesitant to say it because I don't really want anyone to go and watch it, but it's the first video I did was Hannah and I.
I'll put a link in the description.
Oh, please don't. It was Hannah and I going up to the Glidders. We went on a wild camping trip up in Snowdonia. And it's awful when you watch it now. Not that you're going to go and watch it now, but it's awful because it was just recorded on my iPhone 5 on a selfie stick. Really bad quality. The microphone was the cheapest lav mic I could find on Amazon. But I really, really enjoyed it. And I also enjoyed having at the time, maybe not so much now, at the time I enjoyed having the video to go back and watch and having that record of it. So I enjoyed it, and it was just as simple as that. I found it relatively easy to do, and I just enjoyed doing it. And I filmed a couple of trips. There was no sort of motivation of promoting photography or anything like that at the time, because I'd only been doing photography for about a year. But of course, then you get wrapped up in the whole kind of wanting to grow the channel, and you do the sort of things that I certainly did. Went through a period of thinking, I should do a video like this because it might help attract a bigger audience. I did that for a little while and soon gave up on it because it was all a load of rubbish. But yeah, so that's how I got into doing YouTube. And then how did I get onto the Pubcast? Why did I get onto the Pubcast? Why am I still here?
We was extremely drunk one day in Scotland.
No. You were extremely drunk one day in Scotland. I had to drive.
Yeah, you did have to drive.
Yeah. Well, I gate crashed you guys, didn't I? Because I knew you were heading up to Glencoe, and it was shortly after I'd moved up to Scotland. So I said, "Oh, do you mind if I come and tag along?" And then you couldn't get rid of me.
And we said no, but you didn't listen.
We said no. Yeah. That was a good weekend. That
was a good weekend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the story. You've been with us ever since, really. Yeah. I think it's because we got on so well that weekend, didn't we? Really?
Yeah.
And because we were a person short, but
Yeah. Yeah. I might be about to get kicked off if I can't sort my internet out there.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Because the thing is, no one knows when we get to the edit. Because
that's true.
It's really weird when we edit it. You're perfect. It's just when we're actually recording it. It's like
I must admit, I was amazed what you did with the Mark Littlejohn one, because that whole episode I couldn't hear or see Sam or Mark at all, and it was so awkward. Because like I'm talking to you now, and you like to get a nod to know that somebody can hear you or has acknowledged you, but I couldn't hear or see them. So to watch that back, it was like, Jesus, that's magic. How did you do that?
And the thing is like when you're all together and you can all see each other, you get the visual cues of when you can step in and talk.
Yeah.
And we didn't have that at all. Like Mark was on a delay and Sam was on a bit of a delay. And every other thing that was sort of every other question was Mark was like, sorry, could you repeat that? and then he'd start talking, and honestly, the cuts I had to do to make that, but it worked, so that's all good. So what did you get into vlogging then, Jamie? What was your thing?
I think I've shared this before actually, but I was an avid YouTube watcher, subscriber to many of the original channels, yours included, Gary.
Yes, I know. Poor
It
you.
was, and I was watching and actually really enjoying engaging with YouTubers on their comments, and it got me thinking, these guys seem all right, they're just down to earth blokes like me, and I think I'd get on quite well with them. So I met up with several of you guys at the photography show. God knows how many years that was now, with Chris Sale, Andy Maguire.
You were there, Sam, weren't you? You were there.
Oh, that's right.
Was,
you and Hannah were there, Sam, as well. Yeah, that's right.
And we went out for dinner, Jamie.
And that's what we did.
Did you now? Oh, I did. Where was my invite to that? Unbelievable. Even back then, unbelievable, Daz.
Yeah.
You'd have invited me, wouldn't you, Daz?
I went with them.
Oh. Right, I'm going.
No, we did. And it was.
No,
it was
I didn't. I didn't go. I didn't go to Gal. I didn't. Don't.
So I met everybody at the main YouTube photographers that I was following, and particularly Andy Maguire was like saying, "Oh, you should start vlogging. You should start vlogging. Really, by next year, I want to see you vlogging." So I thought, well, what the hell? Let's give this a go. And and went out and started that, and the rest is history, really. But that's what pushed me to do it, was actually wanting to become, I suppose, part of what was then the vlogging landscape, community. And there was a community in it, and it's totally different now than it was. It was a community, and
Jamie, I think there still is a community. I just think we're not in it. We're not in it.
I think there's lots of communities now, because it's grown so much.
Yeah.
In the early days, there was just a very core amount of landscape photographers on YouTube, but there's so many now that there's lots of disparate communities, aren't there?
Yeah. And what about you, Daz? What was your thing? Why did you get into it?
Well, it was a little, not say it was by accident, but I was doing the videos more about my holidays, documenting my holidays, Yorkshire or Iceland or wherever I went, and I was just kind of posting them on Facebook on my friends group. That was all, friends and family, And then a few people said, "Oh, you should put it on YouTube. And I said, "Oh no, it's just But kind of as time went on, I kind of released, I don't know, I put about 6 or 8, I think, on Facebook. And then I walked into the pub one day, which was really strange, and someone just said, "Oh, I really liked your video." And I just thought, I don't even know how you managed to see that. And it was and then I just thought, I will put it on. I'll stick one on YouTube, set up an account, put it on YouTube, and see what happens. And then it's like anything. Once you get a little bit of feedback, a little bit of traction, it does give you a little bit of a lift. Actually, I'm not necessarily embarrassing myself or embarrassing others. It's okay. I'm not great, but it's okay. And then from there, I kind of really enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed it. But then I think for me, even though it was like a photography channel, my interest in photography, or my passion for photography, outweighed the video work.
Yeah.
See, at the beginning, I really enjoyed the video, making the videos, with the photography as a bit of a byproduct. But now I really enjoy my photography like so much more without making the videos. I'm never saying I'll never make a video again, but someone said to me the other day, they watched one of my videos, and it was on, what was it about? They watched one of my wildlife videos, and then they asked me if I could make a video on barn owls.
Oh yeah.
But it's so difficult. Like the last few images I've got with the barn owls, I've had like about 10 seconds with them, and it's so difficult to make a video around that, because it's just, well, for me, it'd be impossible if it's a flyby. You can't be pressing the video camera and trying to take the stills. So, for me, it's now all about the photography. If it's something that comes up in the future, I will make another video. But at the moment, I've got no plans to.
Oh, and if you got someone who's looking for a barn owl video, just put them in. I got one. Just have, do a quick search on my channel, you'll find it. I think it says Wildfowl and the Barn Owl, actually, is the title. Anyway, well, I mean, I got into it. I guess I got into photography or into video because I was looking for an excuse, really, to have an excuse to go out and do stuff. And I remember watching. Oh God, I did a really embarrassing video. I don't know if you guys have done this, but about 4 or 5 videos in, where I went, I want to say thank you to Thomas Heaton and Paul Johnson and Jason Jones for inspiring me. Anyway, but they did inspire me to kind of go out. So I don't know how I got, no idea how I started watching them on YouTube. I think I really was searching for that. I think I just stumbled across them. And I just really enjoyed what they did. And then I went out a few times without a video camera, and just without even thinking about vlogging it. I went to Wales to do a couple of drive up at 11 o'clock at night and get there in the early morning, take some shots, drive home. And then I thought, well, why don't I just make a video? Because I kind of tinkered with the idea, and I did a couple of sort of practice videos. And then one day I just went, no, I'm just going to start doing it. Started doing videos, and then it's kind of gives you an excuse to go out. It's like, well, I'm going to go to Dungeness, I'm going to go to Durdledore, I'm going to go to here, I'm going to go to the Roaches or whatever, because I want to video it. And it's kind of, that was the push. And I guess I just enjoyed doing it, and I kind of wanted something to look back on, in the future.
I must admit. Oh, sorry.
No, go on.
No, I must admit, I have got a couple of regrets of not vlogging some of the hikes that I do.
Yeah.
Because I've almost done all of the southern fells in the Lake District, and sometimes I look back on my previous hiking videos, which have just bombed in terms of numbers, but I really like looking back on them videos, to see the route that I took, what wainwrights I ticked off. And I must admit, I have regretting not videoing my hiking trips more, almost going back to where it first started for me, which was videoing my holidays or videoing my trips, but then sometimes, as I say, like it kind of, it hinders my photography. Where if I was to perhaps video just my hikes, stick them on YouTube, and even put them as private, I can then look back on that for me, personally, rather than sharing it with the world.
Yeah.
So perhaps I might just do that.
I mean, I remember watching you before I met you. That I remember picking up on your videos and saying, I'm going to get on with this guy. If I meet him, I just know I'm going to get on with this guy. And I said to Dave, I remember meeting, meeting Dave in Wales before I did my one and only ever camera club talk. And I was saying, there's this guy, Darren, you should watch him. He's really good, honestly. We did a video, funnily enough. I was like, you really should watch him. It'll be great. He's a great guy. And then we met in the lakes. Do you remember? We met up in there. And it was just like, I knew you already, because obviously
that's one of the good things I think with the as you were saying, the YouTube community.
Yeah,
because we did have a friendship, a lot of us, before we'd even met. So we all watched each other's videos. We was on the Facebook group, so we would kind of interact on kind of posts and comments and stuff like that. So it served a really useful purpose, that group. Because as you say, we all felt like, the first time I met Jamie, same thing.
Yeah.
I just felt like, I know Jamie, but I've never even met him before.
Yeah.
So it was good.
It was very good. And then when it comes to talking about the Pubcast, how the Pubcast came about, well, I guess that was the three of us, really. We were chatting. Was it Southwold?
It was Southwold.
I think it was both. I think you and I, Gal, was shooting together over Wick and Fen, and you mentioned it to me. And then the three of us went to Southwold, and then you mentioned it again.
Yeah.
So that was That must have been because that was between Christmas and New Year, I think, when we went to Southwold. So that must have been
Southwold was,
That's right,
that
yeah.
must have been the Christmas before COVID hit. So
yeah.
because obviously we started it, and it then became something to do with the fact that we were locked in and it was a pubcast, wasn't it? But the idea, I think you're right. I think you guys talked about it. We talked about it. You said, I've got this idea about doing a vlogcast or something. And then it turned into, well, why don't we do it in a virtual pub?
Yeah. And I remember having a conversation about it as well at the top of Stanage Edge. I think it might have been, I can't remember if it was prior to us talking or after us talking. And I was there with Mally and Tim Day and talking about it. And then obviously, because originally it was the four of us, wasn't it? It was me, you, Jamie and David, or us three and Dave. And then we invited those two guys on as guests, if you remember the first time we did, and then they kind of stuck.
Mally and James,
and I guess, and we've just evolved from there. Really, I mean, we've gone through some people, really, if you think about it, haven't we? You know, we've gone through some. You know, I guess you'll be gone soon, Sam. People get sick of us eventually, and then go off and do their own thing.
I'll just drive you guys off.
But yeah. But it's been
good.
Great, isn't it?
I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is the last ever pubcast. And
I was going to say that sounds like a finale.
Oh no, it's not a finale. We'll keep going as long as people want to watch us, and you know, we've still got people interested. We'll keep going, and probably after that anyway, because we kind of just enjoy it, don't we?
Yeah.
We've had our Riverside subs paid for the year, so we've got to keep going now.
Exactly. Yeah. And thank you to John for that.
Well done, John.
I did feel, you know, that we probably didn't mention that as much as we should. I felt like putting a little sponsored by or sort of with thanks to, but we do really appreciate that. So I feel like maybe we should say that every week. We really appreciate it. But we get together anyway, don't we? We're like, even if it's a pubcast. Go on, Jamie. What are you going to say?
No. I just on one of, because I put a vlog out last week, and there's one of my subscribers that I think subscribes definitely to you, Gary, but he probably does to all of us. A guy called Bert Jake. I just wanted to call out Bert.
Oh, Bert Jake.
Bert Jake.
Such a lovely guy, and he leaves me such lovely comments. And he made a point this week of saying, "I'll say hello to the guys on the podcast for me." So just thought, there we go. Hi, Bert.
Hello, Bert.
Hope you're doing well.
I sent him did he win a competition? I can't remember if he won a competition that I did or whether he just asked for something, but I sent him a photo, a print, and he said he got it up on his wall in the toilet. No, it wasn't the toilet, it was the kitchen, I think. But yeah, no, and people like that, people like Bert and you know, they make it worthwhile, don't they?
They do.
They make it worthwhile doing.
100%.
You know, and all the people who comment on here regularly, you know, and there's so many names. I could go through names, but you know, I wouldn't want to make other people feel like we don't appreciate them. But there's so many names we could go through in the comments, and you guys make it worthwhile. And that stuff I was saying earlier wasn't really a moan about where we are. It's a moan about where other people are, if that makes sense. And we really appreciate, you know, it's a bit of a love fest tonight, isn't it? We really love you guys. We love you viewers. Oh, you're amazing. No, but we do. We really appreciate it. So, and we should say that. So I think we've kind of exhausted that one. Do you want to do a photography question before we come back? Because there's a couple more YouTube ones. Should we do a photography question? This is your question, Daz. It popped up in the group a couple of days ago, and you were saying it was a statement really with a discuss, wasn't it? Sort of most interesting photos are captured in extreme or non-standard conditions. Discuss. So do you want to discuss?
I think there was more to it than that, wasn't there? Did you want to read off my question?
Probably. It's like your quote. And there wasn't more to it, was there?
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, I think there was.
There was more to it than that.
That's the second
So,
half.
I mean, basically, it was about 4 lines, and you only managed to read out 2 lines. Couldn't have been that interesting, could it?
Oh, wait, let me have a look. Sorry, hang on. I feel bad now. Oh, come on.
I hope you keep all this in so you feel really guilty.
You're cutting this out, totally cutting this out. No, wait, it says,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Yeah, but it's the same. Hang on a sec. It's pretty much you just. It says most interesting photos are captured in extreme or non-standard conditions. Do you stay in your comfort zone when capturing a photo, or would you take a personal risk on capturing a photo?
Yeah, so without the second part of that, the first part is just.
Well, I gave you the second part. I just said discuss.
I don't even want to discuss it anymore now. No, right. So my point was, as I said, like, a lot of really kind of interesting, not saying the best photos, but a lot of interesting photos come when they're just like non-standard conditions. Like, standard conditions would be a nice calm day, blue skies, etc. Where obviously, you get the more interesting photos when you've perhaps got more dramatic weather. And that could be not just weather as well. I was thinking about you when I wrote that, Gal, because, you do a lot of street photography, and perhaps some of your street photography is night photography.
Yeah.
So do you even think sometimes like, oh, that a big, like, what's that down that alley? And then you think, oh, actually, do I really want to go down that alley in the middle of London? You know what I mean? Or shall I just chance it because I want to get the shot? And that was my, like with me, I think I'm quite conservative when it comes to my own photography, especially when I'm on my own. I don't really hang around on the top of a fell for sunset, because you've got more chance of having an accident on the way down from a fell than you ever have kind of going up a fell, especially if I had to do a little bit of scrambling on the last part to get to the top. And then I think to myself, oh, do I want to hang around here, then come down in the dark? And I think, no, do you know what? I won't take that risk, if you like, Or I remember going to Norway and I was photographing the Devil's Jaw, or the Devil's Teeth, or the Devil's Jaw. I don't know what it is, but I was kind of fairly close. I was fairly close to the sea, but then every seventh wave and that comes in, and I just thought I'd like to get a bit closer, but I thought it's only a photo; it's not worth me getting closer. So I suppose, that was my question really. Do you guys ever kind of just draw the line where your comfort zone is, but then step over the line on occasions to get that shot?
Well, I guess the thing is, it depends on the conditions you're presented with, doesn't it? Because so for instance, my best shot I think that I've ever taken was at Wyming Brook, and the conditions were awful. It was absolutely hammering it down with rain. It was boggy. It was horrible. And the only reason I ended up going there is because I was meeting Rob Oughton there. Now, if I'd have looked at the forecast and gone, Christ, it looks awful, I just wouldn't have gone. I probably wouldn't have even turned up. But when you do turn up in those conditions, you then are forced to do something with them. So you're forced out of your comfort zone, if you like, in that respect, because you've got no choice, because you're there now, so you might as well make the most of it. And as it happened, the rain caused some fantastic mist, and the light was really low, but really sort of
but
nice.
Where was the risk other than you getting out of bed?
Well, I could have fallen over in the mud. I could have got stuck in the mud.
Where was the risk in that shoot?
Slippery stones.
I needed the loo. That could have been risky. I know. Well, okay, all right. So you're talking about like real risk, as in like risk to life.
Yeah.
Would I
risk or injury or potential, or
would I go to somewhere and stand somewhere on high winds because I might get some nice waves, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't bother.
I would say the most dangerous place you've been to was King's Hell, when we came down King's Hell, because that was pretty dangerous with those slippery rocks. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a risk, Daz. I took a risk
that
there.
Was a big risk.
Yeah, but you had no choice in that. It's not like you was forced to come down there, wasn't you?
Yeah. Would I though? Would I go somewhere knowing that it was a risk just to get a photo? No, I wouldn't. My life's more important than a photo at the end of the day, and people might, or my safety is more important than a photo at the end of the day. If we're talking about do extreme or non-standard weather conditions make good photos? Yes, definitely, because if you go out and it's not the norm, it's something different, people will probably be more drawn to that image rather than looking at another sunset photo or a blue sky photo. But would I go out if it was howling a gale or if there's a massive snowstorm or a snowdrift forecast or whatever? No, don't think I would.
See, I'm happy to put myself out there in those conditions
Yeah.
as long as I feel safe. You know, and I think I'd put myself out there I think I'd take more risk if I was, say, with you guys,
Yeah.
you know, because you're in a group. But when
Yeah.
I'm on my own, I just think, right, if anything happened to me here,
Yeah.
there is no help.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you
so-
feel though that your idea of safety might not be someone else's idea of safety? You might be more
absolutely.
capable of a more capable climber
or less capable?
Yeah, or less capable.
Yeah.
Someone else might think, "Oh, this is fine," and you might think, "Oh, you know," and that maybe physical ability impacts on what you would be prepared to do.
Mm.
But there's some stuff. I mean, I look at some people who will go up. You know, they'll go and stand on like I say, on the edge of a jetty or something, or somewhere where there's like these massive waves to get these shots of huge waves, and you think, you get that wrong, mate, you're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not risky. That's reckless.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm definitely on the side of being a conservative, non-risk taker. I think the one risk that I took and thought better of it and came back was last winter. And I had a day to the Peak District when we had that real heavy
remember
snow. And I had a day off and I thought, oh, Peak District had a forecast for some really, really heavy snow. And everybody was telling me, like friends and family, oh, it's like, it was like the Met Office red warning or something. So it's stay away. But you know, I decided, no, I'm going to go for this. And I must admit, I was up there and it was blowing a blizzard and the roads were getting whiter and whiter, more and more snow on them. And I thought, I'm being daft here. I'm trying to get pictures where I'm probably actually not going to be able to get back. I'm going to be stuck in the snow, but like those people were in the Lake District last weekend, you know, and I don't really want that. So I did stop, got back in the car and went. So I think sometimes you need to make that decision whether it is worth it for the shot or whether you need to be careful about your own health and well-being more than getting the shot. But generally speaking, the only risk I would take is walking into a dark woodland first thing in the morning. That's the biggest risk from my perspective. So yeah, pretty easy mine. I wouldn't take many risks at all.
Yeah.
So would you have taken that? Sorry, before we move on to Sam, would you have carried on, Jay, with that journey if you was with somebody else? Would you have felt safer if you had a companion with you?
Yeah, possibly. I think I was getting messaged by, you know, like my wife, you know, and the family were saying, "Are you sure you really want to do that?" Because it was this red warning, and I was feeling fine. It was I felt more than comfortable of continuing walking up to where I wanted to go to take some shots, and I was also quite comfortable driving in the snow. But I think it's because everybody was telling me you shouldn't be there, you need to come back. I felt, all right, I need to listen to them rather than just be pig-headed and carry on and do it. Because if something does happen, then, you know, I'm going to regret it because everybody's told me not to. But no, I think I would have carried on and enjoyed myself and had a great time, but, you know, decided to take the safer option.
Yeah, I think I'm very much the same as you guys in that I would never sort of knowingly put myself at risk of life. And I'd also say I have a bit of a line when it comes to putting the gear at risk as well. But I think everyone's got their own different line as to where that line is, where it crosses into the point where they wouldn't go so far. And for me, I think the line mainly revolves around predictability. So for big things which immediately sprung to mind for me when the question came up, Darren, were waves, which I'm always super careful of, especially because you can never really predict when that rogue wave is going to come. And again, I'm also and tide as well with that as well. And the other thing which sprung to mind was lightning, because I know a lot of people who go out and photograph lightning, and I know that's a line that I would be very cautious about going and standing in a lightning storm with a a metal tripod in the middle of nowhere is not something I would feel comfortable doing. But at the same time, I feel perfectly comfortable climbing up a mountain, provided I have a good handle on what the weather's doing. And if it's like, I wouldn't do it when it's super windy and bad conditions, because then I'd be more worried about it. And there have been times when I've felt, slightly like I'm pushing it and it's time to turn back. So it's just knowing where your line is and just always being aware of that.
And this is go on, Dad.
No, so I shot a lightning storm once, and that was
Thornham.
Thornham. But I had the motorhome, so I had the canopy out, and I had my tripod underneath the canopy. But when it started to, and I was shooting for quite a long time. I mean, this was going not to say the lightning as such, but I've never experienced cloud formations like it. It was just absolutely incredible. It was better to watch than the photos that I produced, but it was just, the best cloud formations I've ever seen. And then as it got dark, the storm started coming my way. But then when it got right over the top of me, that was time to wind in the canopy and get inside the van and get protected by all 4 rubber tyres.
I think a lot of it, though, like you were saying when you were talking about going up a mountain or doing that, it's about physical ability, because I would be nervous, say, going up somewhere that I was worried about coming down in the dark or if the conditions changed. But then you were talking about street photography, Dad, and I'm pretty blasé about that. So I'd imagine there's places that, like, a lot of people have said to me before, oh, no, I won't go there with my camera, my big expensive camera or whatever. And I'll be like, I don't care. I'm fine. I guess because I look and think, well, if you want to try it on, go for it, because I'm pretty, I'm pretty handy. I'm handy. No, but I'll be like, I'm not that worried about that, people approaching me trying to steal my gear or whatever. Whereas other people may be more concerned about that. I think that's a hang up about street photography. A lot of people worry about their gear and their safety, their personal safety. But I'd be way more worried on a fell than I would be in, say, Brixton or somewhere, Except for Fish Island. Fish Island was not good. I did feel uncomfortable there.
Where's Fish Island?
It's in London. It's in Tower Hamlets. And I went there because there was some nice graffiti, and I thought I'd get some nice shots of people walking past graffiti, and that bit was fine. But as you got further in, it's sort of by the Olympic Park in West Ham. And as I got further in, I was like, a couple of people, you filming? Are you filming, mate? Are you filming? It's like, no, I'm not filming. Lights flashing. Like, no, I'm not on my GoPro. No, I'm not filming. No, nothing to worry about. I thought, I think I'm going to leave here soon, I think. But yeah, it's I don't that generally, like, pretty much I don't worry about walking around the streets of London at night with my camera. But I would worry about walking around a fell at night if, thinking if the weather changes or I get stuck or I become fatigued or whatever. So
Sam made a good point there about the risk to your gear as well, because I think that the conditions, going back to weather, the blizzard conditions or the storm conditions, they are potentially where you're going to get some of your best shots, because that dramatic look at the sky or whatever, it creates unique shots. But you do worry then about getting out, because it wouldn't bother me at all going out in a blizzard or going out in a storm. That wouldn't frighten me whatsoever, but I would be concerned about the camera getting completely ruined. And when you've got several £1,000s worth of camera gear, although it could be insured, that's the risk to that you've got to consider as well, isn't it? But he who dares wins, Rodney, as they say.
I do think, though, cameras are stronger than people give them credit for. They're more robust than people give them credit for. When you first get a new camera, you can be a little bit precious about it. I better not take it out. I know the Sony had when I first got my Sony, I was a bit worried because, it said, if it's raining, you're okay. But if it's like mizzle, you need to worry about it because it could get in the contacts on the hot shoe and short the camera out. But I've had that Sony out in decent rain, and it's never let me down. Same with the Canon. The the Canon 5D3 did go on me eventually, but that was only because I got the contacts wet between the lens and the camera itself. And then even then, when I dried it out, it was fine. So I think cameras are more robust than we give them credit for. Obviously, you don't want a wave, coming over it. But your bag got flooded, didn't it, once, Jamie?
Yeah, down in Cornwall. Yeah, because I wasn't used to sort of shooting waves. It's not the sort of thing I do a lot. So yeah, that 7th wave that Darren mentioned earlier on was my bag was open behind me on some rocks, and that 7th wave came and completely flooded the bag. But luckily, I had my camera and one of the lenses on the tripod, but the other lens was in the bag and got ruined completely. So.
Well, I remember talking. I did I used to do that snapshots podcasty thing. I was talking to Daniel Retham or Retham. I can't quite remember his name. He was saying, I think he was at Portland Bill, and he was down on on the flat bit there, and a big wave came and almost took him. Almost took him away. And you don't sometimes. I think that's. For me, that's the biggest one, waves. You were saying about waves. I think waves is the biggest one. That was because the power of the sea is scary.
Yeah.
Well, like when we was it was me and a friend of mine in Iceland, and we was on the Diamond Beach.
Yeah.
And he had his camera bag open. And it seemed well away from, you see the sea kind of coming in and then receding and coming in, and he felt perfectly safe. And then one wave came in and then soaked his camera bag, but it's the black sand as well. And literally picked up all the black sand and just dumped it in his camera bag. I mean, okay, you could blame him for not zipping the bag back up, but even so, that was an expensive morning for him. That.
Well, all along that south coast of Iceland is so unpredictable with those waves as well, and you've got really bad rip tides.
You've been to Vik, haven't you, Sam?
Yeah, and I actually saw someone get wiped out on the Diamond Beach as well. There was someone who was photographing the ice, and again, he didn't look like he was any sort of further in than half the other photographers, but also the shape of that coastline is it's not straight, so it's quite hard to tell exactly at what point the waves are going to come higher. And this guy just got completely taken out, went right over on his back, and a bunch of us had to go and sort of pick him up off the ground and make sure he was okay. But all of his gear was completely destroyed.
I do need to say as well that Wyoming Brook was quite perilous, Daz. There was a point where mud came over
basically
the top of my boot.
your biggest risk was drizzle.
No, it was mud. It was mud coming over the top of my boot. I mean, I'll be honest with you.
Mud coming out of your arse, Gary.
I'll be honest with you. I was really, really, I was proud of myself that I took the forethought to bring a pair of extra socks. Otherwise, it could have been a disaster.
Absolute disaster.
Well
done.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, mate.
So I think we've all kind of concluded that we're not huge risk takers when it comes to capturing a photo.
But I mean, I've watched stuff on YouTube of people doing stupid things, taking risks, and it's people follow people on YouTube. They're kind of inspired by people on YouTube, aren't they? And you go, oh, you watch someone do something stupid, and it just makes me cringe. It just honestly, I just think, why are you showing that to other people? It's so reckless. It's so thoughtless.
See, also as well. Like, I know because we've done so many podcasts that, I tend to repeat myself. But, I've got a good friend who's mountain rescue. And what perhaps a lot of people don't realise is these guys don't get paid.
Yeah.
They've all got regular jobs. They're all sitting down to their kind of Sunday lunch with their family, and then they'll alerter will go off and they have to leave or the middle of the night, and then they have to get up for work the next day. I mean, these guys don't get a penny for doing what they do. And I know that when I was hiking in the lakes a few years ago during that really hot weather, and I got to the foot of the Northern Fells, and I just decided that I couldn't go up. I mean, I've been hiking for I've done about 55 miles at this point, and I just kind of got to the bottom of Skiddaw, and in my mind I was thinking, I could if I need rescuing, because I've put myself in that situation
yeah.
where I was physically exhausted. There was going to be no water up there. I was carrying a huge packet, and I was already kind of suffering, unbeknown to me at the time. But I was always suffering for a bit of heat stroke.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm not only putting myself at risk, but I'm then bringing out bloody mountain rescue.
Yeah.
For my own stupidity.
It's easily done, mate. I tell you, I've done 55 miles before, and I've thought to myself, at some point, I'm going to have to pull over and get a McDonald's because I'm really feeling it now. You know, I'm really struggling.
No, I think not. Joking aside, if someone twists an ankle,
Yeah,
you know what I mean, then mountain rescue are not going to have a problem. But if you go up there and and you've not taken the right footwear, or you've just not thought about what you're doing, then they've got and they probably won't say it, but they've got every right to be so pissed off. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. And I'm sure Dave would say it. You know, it's so easy to misjudge the conditions, and you see so many people who are down in the valleys, or by the lakes, and it's lovely and warm, and I'll go for a walk and I'll be all right, and they get halfway up or 3/4 of the way up, and it's suddenly freezing, and and if you, like you say, if you twist an ankle or if you do something, you're then stuck up there, and then what do? You've got no, if you haven't got the correct protective equipment, you haven't got anything to keep you warm, you're really struggling. So what we're saying is, don't do it. Don't go up fells or mountains. It's stupid. It's a stupid thing to do. Stupid.
So that was a good topic, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, well done, Darren.
Yeah, it was normally you lot slate my topics.
I mean, well, half.
No,
the
but that was a
topic
sensible
good. The other
one.
half you added on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the next topic from Daz, which is would you rather? I mean, we just do that every week. Would you rather have a penis for a leg or a arse for an eye? It's a running joke, but we will move on to another topic, shall we? Because we've got quite a few. Where are we at? 1 hour 11. We've got a bit more time, haven't we? Shall we do? What do you want to do? Do you want to do another YouTube topic, or do you want to do Sam's topic about places you haven't visited in the UK but want to? Which one would you?
Can I have a kip and let you three talk? Is that right?
I thought you'd been doing that already. So moving on to another topic now, and this is one that Sam brought up because we felt that we'd moaned a bit, hadn't we, about honeypot locations. So we thought we'd rebalance it a bit. You basically asked if there are any locations in the UK that we haven't visited, but we'd like to. So, seeing as it's your question, Sam, it's only fair you start, really.
Yeah, so, the one which immediately sprung to mind for me, and like I said, the reason I mentioned this was because I did think it was nice to talk about locations that we would like to go to, as opposed to moaning about locations that we don't want to go to. And one which is on my list is Orkney. Because I've not been to Orkney, and I've been most other places in the UK. So actually most of the places that I've not been to would be islands. So I'd also probably include Shetland in there as well. But from a landscape point of view, Shetland for me would be more of a wildlife location, I think. But from a landscape point of view, actually, I really like the idea of Orkney, and I've seen some nice images from Orkney. And everyone I know that has been to Orkney has always come back and said, you need to go to Orkney. It's something special. So, yeah, that's on my list.
So Orkney then.
Orkney, yeah.
Okay. What about you, Jamie?
Mark Littlejohn's backyard. I'd like to go to Mark's backyard because I think.
Oh, by the way, hang on a minute. Can we all have a minute to just talk about how well behaved I was when Mark was on, and I didn't say anything about you loving Mark, did I? Did I?
You didn't. No, you didn't. That's because I told you not to.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, he literally private messaged me and went, "Please don't mention anything while we're on with Mark about me loving Mark." And I said, "I won't say anything. I won't say anything about presets. I won't mention it." And I didn't. I stuck to my word, and I did.
You did.
Anyway, sorry. Okay. Yeah, carry on.
No, you did. No, and I do. There's no secret that I'm a big admirer of his work, as I'm sure many of us are. But no, in all seriousness, I think that there's parts like where Stu's just come back from. Not far from where you are, Sam, Glen Affrick, on that area there. And if you haven't watched Stu's video, go and watch it, because I did watch it. I was working, but I did actually just watch it briefly this afternoon. And awesome place. Obviously, he had some fantastic conditions, but just the sheer beauty of that landscape around there is just, it looks to me as though it's a playground that I would love to go and visit. So that sort of place to me, I would really, really like to go to. And I've never actually been to, I was going to have a word with Dave, because I'd like to go to some of the Snowdonia old woodland as well that I've never been to. There's some lovely areas around there, and I know that there's a few photographers that post regularly from Snowdonia. I'd like to do that as well. So there's lots of areas of the UK. I don't necessarily want to go to the mountains or to the sea. I just like to explore the landscape which has got trees in it, but not necessarily just for the woodland, but just for a different landscape. Because as Darren said many times, we are, around here, there isn't a great deal to whet your appetite. So, going to somewhere that's a bit more interesting. So it could really be anywhere outside of the Fens would be nice to go, just to enjoy something a bit more of interest than what we've got. But yeah, no, I think if I was to choose one, it would be Glen Affrick, where Stu just came from.
Okay, Daz?
Well, it's not far away, so I should really kind of make an effort. But I really would like to go to Ireland. Ever since I watched Nev Cartledge's video when he went over there. In fact, he invited me to go with him, and I'd just come back from a kind of a 6-week kind of sabbatical, really, that I took off, and I was only back a week. And he said, "Oh, I'm going to Ireland. Do you fancy coming?" And I went, "Mate, I just can't. Even if it's for a week, I just can't do it." And then I watched these videos, and I just thought, "Oh God, I really, really want to go there." And the same with Scotland. I want to explore more of the west coast of Scotland, but I think because I just love the Lake District so much, I always feel that, if I go there, I'm going to miss out on that week or 2 weeks in the Lake District. And I've got to stop thinking like that. I've got to go further afield. But, like for example, Scotland, it's another, was it 6 or 8 hours further on from the Lake District. So I get as far as the lakes and I just think, do you know what? I'll just stay here now. But really, yeah, I suppose out of them both, it'll be Ireland and Scotland.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, personally for me, I'd really love to go back to Glencoe and explore some of the glens that we sort of didn't explore. There's lots of little waterfalls and cascades and bits like that I would really like. And the other place that I've never been is the northeast. I've been to Newcastle on a night out, but I've never been to Newcastle or the northeast to take photos. I'd love to head up that way and take some shots, but not necessarily like Bamber or Dunstanburgh or Alnwick or these sort of real sort of well-known places. Just have a little explore around. I mean, honestly, I've been doing some local stuff lately because I'm sort of doing a little project of shooting locally, and there's so much more if you just. Sorry, Daz, I'm keeping you up.
Sorry, cut that bit out. I knew if I was going to gloss straight over that.
Where was I? Yeah, no, just locally, there's so much really. If you just look around and really take that time to go, right, I'm just going to really focus in on what's around here. I've found shots just driving around that I never would have seen,
such
if
as
I hadn't looked. Literally, such as the other. So I play walking football now, like twice a week, 3 times a week. And every day I drive past there's this place called Flitwick, which is a woodland. And every day I drive through a village called Greenfield, and I turn right into Flitwick, and there's this farmer's field, and it backs onto Flitwick Moor. And the time of day I go, the sun is shining literally onto these trees. And it's just a row of trees. There's like a load of, I think they're oaks, and they were beautiful, sort of rusty brown colour. And there's these few birches that are just sat in the oaks. And I got my 150 to 600 lens out and went and stood at the other end of the farmer's field and cropped in and shot. And I got a lovely image there, you know, and that's only from sort of looking. There's just loads of stuff. There's an old ramshackle sort of old tin shed halfway down the road from where I live that's sort of next to, it's got a lovely tree, and you can get sort of a nice little juxtaposition between that and that. And I just think that I'm really interested in that sort of thing now. I still want to do the other stuff, but I'm much more interested in local, just making the most of what I can get locally, and maybe to show other people that you don't have to travel a million miles to go and get good shots. You know, you can still do it locally.
Yep.
I was on the train going up to Leeds, as I said, for this party, and sitting on the train looking out the window is a great way to scout for certainly for trees and places like that, because not far from, I got on the train at Peterborough, and obviously then from Peterborough up towards Grantham you've got the whole area there, and I've dropped 3 pins on Google Maps while I was on the train of things I spotted going up there, little copses of trees up on the hill, you know, things that you think, well, that might work in a bit of snow. You know, that'd be lovely to go and try that in a bit of snow. But 100% behind you, Gary. I think you're right. There's so much. If you can take the effort to just get out and just go down these little country lanes and explore these places, that they are the total unique compositions. They're the direct opposite to the honeypots. They're the ones that nobody's photographed before, and they make something that's unique.
And you know what? You know what I did the other day? I went into my local park, my local rec, and shot a picture of the church tower of the church that's literally in my village. There's like a nice sort of birch that sort of had some really orangey yellow leaves on it, and it's only a real sort of, you know, sort of picture postcard image, but it's just something I never would have even considered doing like 2 or 3 years ago. It's just, for me, finding that. And don't get me wrong, you know, I still want to travel to places. I still want to go and shoot like real sort of nice shots. I'd love to go back, like I said, love to go back to Glencoe, go down some of those little glens that we sort of missed off last time and do that. But it's it's stretching your mind and stretching your ability to try and shoot everyday shots that you know, and get them to look good. Whereas, you know, you go to these honeypot locations and it's just there for you, and it's just kind of almost like painting by numbers, you know. And I'm not slagging it off. I'm certainly not slagging off people who do that, because I totally understand why. But it's kind of like, for me, it's like it's been a real good exercise to go, right, what is there around me? What is there? And how can I make this into a photograph? How can I use my ability to make this into a photograph? So,
Yep, I'm with you. I've had a lot of wasted trips, though, scouting those places, because I'll go on Google Maps and I'll try and find, you know, lone trees in a field or some interesting places on Google Maps, some earth formations, things like that. And when you go there, it's just, you know, not photogenic at all. But it's still good fun. But you know, it's hard work doing it, and the reward, you might get one shot in 20 that actually, when you get there, it works. But it's still.
I mean,
still worth
woodlands
exploring.
are hit and miss, aren't they? I've been thinking about this whole conversation about honeypots and all of that, and I think the thing to take away from it all is do what you want to do. Do what inspires you. It's like, you know, don't listen to, you know, we can sit here and wax lyrical about this place and that place and shoot local and shoot woodland and shoot waterfalls and shoot street, but at the end of the day, you got to do what you want to do. You got to find your thing, and your thing, Daz, obviously is the lakes and that sort of image. It's not, you're not interested in the fens or you know, those sort of shots. And your thing, Jamie, is woodland and those sort of things. You don't want to necessarily go, you know, when we went to Scotland, you took the shots of the other places, but you were most in love when you found the woodland places.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing for everybody. Yeah, for everybody to do what inspires you, because, you know, the big thing about photography is it's not a job for the majority of us. It's a hobby. And if you're doing something that you don't want to do, then why are you doing it as a hobby? You know,
Yeah.
it's like it's pointless.
I think I
Yeah.
don't know who said it. One of you guys said it. It might have been Mark or Stuart said, like, you know, basically it might have been, I can't remember, but someone said, you know, by shooting the honeypots, you're not going to say grow too much as a photographer, and that I totally get. And Sam said something as well. Oh, that was it. Sam said, yeah, but you know, you could go to these places because you've seen that photo, but if you don't get the right light, you're never going to capture that photo. And I understand all that, but sometimes for me, it's the lure of the honeypot that will get me to that location, just so then I can explore the area, rather than just turning up somewhere totally blind and doing a 300-mile scout.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Do
totally.
you see what I
Yeah,
mean?
makes sense.
It is.
Yeah,
I've got some lovely photos that I'm really pleased with near the honeypot locations.
Okay, well, I think on that note, we'll probably call it a day because Jamie looks like he's probably like about to drop off. I think
I need to get a bed.
Poor Jamie.
hanging.
Yeah.
Poor Jamie. Do you know what? I'm in London tomorrow with a couple of mates, and I really wanted to say to people, oh, look, if you're in London tomorrow, please come out and spend some time with me because these guys they're a nightmare. But it's not going out till Sunday, is it? So I can't. I'll just give you an example, right? Really quickly. I just want to read the WhatsApp messages that I've had with these guys. All right, are you ready? So I said, what the first mate says, what are we doing? Looking to head into London on Saturday. The Leeds game's on the telly at 12:30. Oh, but one of them's a Leeds supporter. How long are we spending in London? I'm at the Luton game on Sunday. I don't want to be coming back too late. Early as a Sunday. Maybe watch the Leeds game and tell anyone said, oh, I don't think my pocket will handle £7 or £8 a pint too much. Up to you guys what we do. I was like, it's going to be a fun day. We're going to have a great time, aren't we? Two moaning old gits. Anyway, so if you happen to bump into me in London tomorrow, I know it'll be yesterday.
Well, how are they going to bump into you then?
Well, they might bump into me.
They're
They
gonna-
might.
Got a time machine.
No, but they might have. They haven't seen this, but I still might go to London and I might bump into someone by accident, and then I know
So
what
if
I'm
you
talking
bumped
about.
if you bumped into me yesterday, is probably how you
Yeah,
wanted
if
to
you
say.
bumped into me yesterday,
Yeah.
then thanks for saving me. And if you didn't, then where were you? Because I'm going to have an absolute nightmare with two really old guys who just want. And the worst thing is I know some.
Do they watch the Pubcast?
No, they don't. They don't care. They're not interested. Does anybody you know watch the podcast?
No.
Do any of your mates watch the podcast?
Yeah.
No.
Do they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dave and Michelle Wills. I love them to bits. I want to get. Like, if Dave, if you're watching,
Hang on a minute. Is that the Dave and Michelle you were moaning about before we came on? And they said, I'd better be nice to them because
Yeah,
they watch.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, so Dave, I want to. I've spoke to Dave, see if he'll come on the Pubcast actually, because Dave and Michelle, they've got a place in Spain where they do all the astrophotography.
Oh, okay. He's a photographer.
He's
So
a
it's just some
photographer.
geezer. You just say,
No, not
come
just
on, come on,
some
mate.
random bloke that I met down a pub. And I'll tell you what, Dave's photography is unbelievable. I was going to say on a different world, but it kind of almost is a different world. But it
Out of
is
this world.
out of this world on a different planet. But Dave does all the deep sky photography of all the kind of nebulas, and it's beautiful, mate. So we should get Dave on. It's like
Dave, come on.
come on, Dave. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, Dave.
Yeah. Pull your finger out, Dave.
Yeah.
Letting the team down. No one I really know watches the podcast. No one
That's
really
because you've got
cares.
no friends.
Well, I've got loads of friends, just none of them care. Well, I haven't got that many friends. Did you think when you were starting out that when you said about I'm a vlogger, people would watch your stuff? Your mates might watch your stuff. I say I do photography vlogs, and everyone just goes. Well, no one ever watches your stuff. I don't care, do they?
Have you checked the trains are running, by the way, tomorrow? Because I got hit with train strikes today. Yeah, it was today. I don't know whether it's on tomorrow or not. There was only 3 trains running today. Sorry.
That'd be even worse, wouldn't it? That'd be even worse. Worse than going to London would be with a couple of people who want to be in by about 5:30 at the latest because they've got stuff to do in the morning. Would be staying in Luton with them, the worst place in the world. Luton's awful. Anyway, I think I've moaned enough. What do we need to do? Sorry, Jamie. I know you're tired. Aren't you? Should we do another topic just to keep Jamie up?
I think it'd just be the three of us if we do.
Yeah. Well, yeah. All right. Well, look. Thanks for watching. Keep your competition entries coming in. You've got until next Friday. I mean, I know we've already said it, but Jesus, Daz, you really need to look at the website. There are some stunning shots.
I will do, mate.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of
shots.
back to normality.
Yeah.
I will. I'll catch up.
The level is the standard is amazing. So keep those coming in. Keep your questions coming in. Keep your comments coming in. We really appreciate you watching. So thank you very much for watching. I'm
not here next week. Just letting you know.
Are you not?
No.
Where are you?
Exeter.
Oh yeah, it's your son's graduation, isn't it?
Yeah, my son's master's graduation. Yes. So
okay.
Then Exeter next Friday.
I hope that all goes very well for you, and congratulations to your son. Well done. So we'll be back next week. There should be, well, who knows? I mean, who knows? Could just be me. Could just be me.
I'm good for next week. I'm good for next week.
Well, there'll be the two of us at least. Samson. Yeah. Good. Well, there'll be three of us again at least. I'm sure we'll be at least five of us, hopefully. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.